morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Coffee with Jim and James. I will not even explain what was going on in the pre-show, but it was epic. When James and I get together, it is magic. But James, hold on a second. I'm going to call an audible today. Okay?
Do it.
Because let me tell you, I almost had a Back to the Future type of moment. I was in 2022. I'm in Vancouver. I'm at a WI event, and it's hustle and bustle. Kevin Sullivan, Eric's there. We're talking to everybody, and we have some great information. All of a sudden, we pull out the camera, we go live from there and start telling people about some really cool industry events. And so, you know what? It just made me think that, let's go back to the future or go to today. There's so much going on. I know we had some topic we were going to talk about today, but I think we should go off script a little bit, follow our buddies at Upsco where they kind of freestyle it for a little bit and just have a discussion with the audience about some of the things we're seeing in the world. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. That was really what happened in the pre-show was we decided to throw the script out and freestyle, if you will.
Yep.
Jim will beatbox and I will freestyle. Look at that. Throwback. I know I went throwback today too. Look at that. More about that later in this freestyle episode. So in full disclosure, what we did, we just got together pre-show, put a bunch of points we wanted to cover, really to catch people up and debrief people of things going on in the industry, things going on with our company, our roles, personal, whatever it may be. And kind of, there's not really a cadence to these. We're not going to say we're going to do these once a month or what, because really what you mentioned, when we get back out there, that future that you prognosticated was going to be our reality in about 6 months. And in 3 months, 4 months, what are we talking about? I'm sure everybody's looking at Q3 and 4 and shaking like the rest of us at how many events are in there, right? How's this going to look? And so what we want to do is be your boots on the ground, be out there bringing information back. I used to tell Jimmy to do this internally. You go to so many shows.
Yeah.
Give us the high points of the sessions you were in. Give us a debrief when you get back. And so Jimmy gets to be your, feet on the ground out there sometimes to those events maybe you didn't even know about, and myself included. So we'll be able to do that. Plus, man, we're busy. In general, we are blessed to be busy, and we want to share some of that with the world. And yeah, man, we're totally stealing from Upskill. But we told them we were going to do it.
Yeah, and they loved it. They loved it.
But we're going to turn it into the whole show is nothing that no guest, no planned guest anyway. I mean, if somebody shows up, we get Zoom bombed. That's that's life, right?
It's a virtual life.
Yeah, let's just jump into it. I mean, we don't really know what we're doing, but that's the idea behind it. Jimmy, I want to start with you.
Yes, sir.
You're a busy man. Busy right now. And I know there's episodes to come where we'll talk in detail about some of those things that you're working on. But there's an exciting thing that I know that you've been passionate about. Really, you've been talking about this since you came on board with Energy Worldnet.
Yep.
And we have been, blessed to be able to roll some of that out and begin kind of betaing it, if you will, testing it with some folks. And so, Jimmy, tell the world about this project that you've been very close to and working on, try to bring it and kind of where we sit. And I know it's kind of a teaser. It's not 100% out there, but, share with the world a little bit on what you've been cooking over there.
Well, over the years, I've realized that the manufacturers in our industry hold a lot of credibility, hold a lot of, I don't want to say power, but people go to them. Operators go to manufacturers for advice. Contractors go to manufacturers for advice. They're actually a very important hub into everything that's being done out there. And they're looked as subject matter experts in what they do. And people really rely on them and their information. So I've been a long proponent of tapping into the manufacturers and getting a little bit of a formal type of platform around them And so that's kind of, I think that's a pretty good teaser for some really exciting things. But if you're a manufacturer and
Yeah.
you sell into contractors, into distributors, into operators, and people are constantly asking you for your advice, for any your world, we should talk because it's very exciting. I think that's enough teaser for now, James.
No doubt, no doubt. Reach out to us, and then we'll definitely start that conversation.
Yep.
Lots of exciting things over there, and a lot of work has went into that from a bunch of different parts of our company
Oh yeah.
and our partners. So the partnerships are really the exciting part of it. That's Jimmy. That's what you and I are out there doing, all the time, and I've spent, really the last year really hyper focused on. It's been really, fostering relationships and finding those strategic partnerships out there.
Yep.
And this is the fruits of that labor. So excited to see it coming out. Awesome.
Absolutely. And shout out to our friends at Clock Spring NRI who have been proponents and talking to everybody in their part of the industry, including regulators who have been giving applause to this whole effort. So some really exciting stuff going on, folks. But let me turn the table, James.
Yeah.
Enough about me and my world. You, my friend, you have been busy. You have been doing a lot. Not only do you head up all of our brand initiatives at Energy Worldnet, but I don't know how this ever could have happened, but they named you also in charge of human resources. So
it was a proud moment when I called my mom that day, though.
Did you say
I've been on the other side of the law so many other times, with HR. No way. You're right, and it is a busy time. And HR is one of those funny things that if it's done right, you almost don't even know they're there, right? And so it's sometimes a forgotten corporate service or department, and it's been very eye-opening for me to be in there and see it firsthand and learn. Man, I'm learning every day. I'm such a liability. I tell them all the time. They keep me. I saw a video the other day where this lady had a hula hoop around her that was 6 foot. So she could keep everyone away. Per the guidelines, right? And it was really funny. But I visualized the same thing when I walked into HR. They put a 10-foot long pole around me. So I couldn't touch anything, and they would, they put a bell on my collar, so they'd know where I was. Man, we're busy, and again, fruits of being so blessed and so busy is we are hiring like mad right now. We did last year as well. Our growth is exponential.
Yep.
Like I said, we are blessed in that world. We're expanding into a whole new worlds, right? So we're building the teams for that. So we just had a press conference, I guess when this airs last week.
Yep.
For me, it was yesterday. Very, very cool thing we did here locally in downtown Decatur, Texas here, and announced that we were bringing 40 jobs, potentially to the area. I mean, for sure to the area, but hopefully, some of them obviously some will be remote. But that's a big impact, it's millions of dollars, $2 million worth of salary. And so we announced that. We had the mayor there and the Economic Development Corporation. And so it was an exciting event to be able to, really help people understand who we are locally. We haven't always been involved. We didn't know, you just don't know when you're kind of growing things. So we announced that. That was exciting. And then we announced a job fair coming up next week, which probably when this airs, it probably is today. So pray for me today. Now we're at a job fair. We're hosting a job fair. There's a really cool space here in downtown Decatur. I know, Jim, you've been there. We have the Trinity Street coffee bar.
Wonderful.
Really cool place. We call it our second office. We actually partnered with the roasting side of their company as well, Voltage, and we're hopefully be shipping out coffee, with our swag boxes to people here real soon. So we're going to be hosting it there at their new space. They have a restaurant they opened. They call it the Roasterant right next door. And so we're going to be hosting a job fair there. What is it? June 3rd, 8:30 to 10:30, actually live there. We'll be hiring a bunch of people. I won't say on the spot because we won't, but we'll be taking a lot of information.
Right? Make relationships.
No doubt. No doubt. We'll be putting a lot of people on our virtual bench as well, because I'm telling you, we're growing. I don't see it stopping. We're really excited about it. But Jimmy, there was one hire in particular.
Yeah.
That maybe flew across a couple of people's radars this week, this past couple of weeks, and that was the addition of Mr. Brian Dresel, who a lot of us know from his days at PHMSA. His, being active in the industry as a whole. Man, what an awesome, he's been a guest on our show.
When he's with Black Hills Energy.
Absolutely. And we actually have teamed up with him at multiple times. We've had a great relationship with Brian for a long time. We've wanted him to be a part of our team, but the stars needed to align. So here we are. So that was an exciting thing to get to put out there into the world this past couple of weeks. So we're excited. Brian's on board. He is, man.
Brian's claim to fame.
Special.
Coffee with Jim and James, you know what his claim to fame was? The shortest answer for the question we always ask, do you love what you do? It was a positive one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was it. That's how he answered. Next. Brian, he's like, let's get going.
But yeah, man, like I said, blessed to be busy.
Yes.
Definitely busy. So we're hoping to bring a lot of new people. I think we've hired, I don't know, by the time this airs, we have a new crew coming in too. I mean, we may be to 15, 20 people already in 2021. So we're well on our way. It's exciting.
And let me just hit on one thing, because we kind of glossed over it, but you in charge of brand and you in charge over human resources. People are saying brand, marketing, human resources, rules. Sure. But when you think about a company, what's the core of a company is its culture, right?
Yeah.
Everything.
And really the argument that I always put up, or not that it was an argument, but was that if I'm going to be charged to curate the brand and make sure the culture is where it should be, then I need to understand how people are coming into our company and how they're leaving. And those two things can answer a lot for us. We ask a lot of questions when people walk out the door, unfortunately, that we don't ask, and I'm saying we, all of us, right? Collectively as a society, sometimes we don't ask those questions until someone walks out. And so we're trying to build something that if we're going to go out there and talk about a brand, then it's something that we really believe in. It's something that we hire into, and make sure that it is what we say it is, So yeah, it's different. Believe me, I get a lot of like those cocked head looks when I say it. And especially the people who know me in the industry have played golf with me.
Yeah.
So I definitely have an HR hat. HR doesn't claim me, for the record. They're like, no, he's just over our department. He's not in HR.
Yeah.
That's the preface. But Jimmy, one other thing I wanted to bring up, not about us, but really just seeing the industry, a burst of things kind of going on in the industry this past couple of weeks. I know you were a part of some of them and wished you could have been a part of others. I know, same here. Busy week last week, but over the last month, we've seen, virtual events from EGW. We had Phil on.
I got to attend that, absolutely. And, Phil Wiggers is the owner, CEO, president.
He's just on,
Just on 2 weeks ago. He's friends of ours. It was a good event, very good. Just wrapped up.
So cool stuff going on out there. I know we had Greg McReynolds, who's on the brand team, brand ambassador, Mr. Brandy Man, self-proclaimed Mr. Brandy Man, Greg McReynolds, attended Tennessee Gas Association's virtual event this past week. And actually, Greg had some glowing reviews on that and the system that they used. So, you know, that's cool to start seeing people figuring out what's working and what's missing. You know, if you go back to some of our first episodes, Jimmy, that was some of the stuff we talked about. Like, what are we going to learn during this? How are we going to figure out these gaps in the technology? And I think we're seeing technology get there, but also our users get there, right? And people going, you know what if we did things like this? Or what if we didn't have this if it's virtual? Like, it's okay to say no too, or let's not have a virtual event. How many did we see get postponed, you know, here this past month too, to later in the year? So a lot of decisions like that going on. What do you think?
I think not only the events, James, but also some of the things that we've seen, like with the Connections for Life UPSCO guys doing their podcast series, very successful. You know, Applied Consultants also doing some virtual podcast type stuff. Then let's take it a little bit further too, like Clock Spring NRI doing tech talks where they get on for 20 minutes and, you know, give the industry something very specific. You know, you can get in, nerd out for a little bit on composites and get out and learn something or ask questions. And we're seeing more and more of that, and people's familiarity, and more so how comfortable they are now to, you know, getting engaged. A year and a half ago, if you told me to be on a Zoom call, I would have been like, let's just talk on the phone. We're good.
You know, one thing I've noticed too, Jimmy, that I think we figured out also is go back before the pandemic happened. Okay. When most things were in person, and then your other option was a virtual option, right? Yeah. And the price point on the virtual option was usually bananas, right? Oh, you want to take this virtual class? Well, it's $1,500, you know, whatever it is, right? And you get in there and then it's clunky and you're kind of like, oh man, this is really expensive for this virtual. So then nobody signed up for virtual, right? Yeah. Well, we were almost running them away from virtual so that we could, you know, it's so much easier. People are going to come in person. Now if you look across the industry, associations have figured out, like, they're paying their dues out there. Yeah, we're not going to make money. We've got sponsors. We've got underwriters. Let's just open it up and get people exposed to the association, right? Yeah. Make it a value add instead of trying to make it make money, because we're in an off year. It is what it is. Let's do the best we can, but let's make it an experience. And man, I don't know about you, Jim, but I look around our company in particular, but even our industry, I've heard it. So many people have been able to attend things that they never would have been able to. Absolutely. They wouldn't have travel in the budget. They wouldn't have the money. Yep. It wouldn't have got approved. It wasn't their specialty. How many people watched a line locating course, you know, or session over this pandemic that never had a clue what that was? Yeah. For a damage prevention summit, because, well, I mean, it's there. Why wouldn't I want to learn about it? And changed industries or got a new opportunity because of one of these small trainings, what seems small in scale, right? In scope.
Yep. It's a virtual world, man. It's a virtual world. We're good.
Yeah. My daughter's home. Summer's out. School's out for summer. But yeah, that's one of the byproducts that's so cool. And seeing that, like I said, seeing the industry kind of come alive and looking ahead in the future and knowing, man, I think those events are going to happen. You know, events like, Jim, think about what's ahead. What's left this year that's big in scale, weighing on it. I can see it. We've been waiting years, right? I mean, we know AGA is coming.
This October to my home state of Florida, Orlando, just up the road from me. That's going to be big.
That's the big one, right? That's the biennial.
Yeah, that's the every 2 year one. Yep, the biggie.
I hate saying that word. I feel like I can't say it right. But biennial, is that right?
Biannual.
See, I've been saying it wrong my whole life. Nobody told me.
Hey, that's why we're a team, brother. Yin and yang. All my little things where I do that, you fill me in, and vice versa.
And you correct biennial.
You got it.
Biennial.
There's another word a couple of weeks ago that you could not say, and I'm like, if you think of it, remind me, because it was funny.
No, I'm never saying it again.
Come on.
We also, what else do we have big on the calendar?
SGA Connect.
Yeah, that one's going to be a big blowout. That's a good event anyway. I love that event. But it's like, I feel like Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, no, actually, Jimmy, that's a different event. I hope we're involved in that
event coming up, though, right?
Right. We do. The management conference is coming up in June.
Yep.
June. Gosh, so many dates. See, this is why we have handlers and calendars and stuff. Is because we can't keep our life together. SGA coming up. We are going to be on doing a networking event game show thing with UPSCO. If you remember that from last year, tons of fun. It was the first thing we had done last year like that. We did several. We're doing another one with TGA coming up as well. We just recorded a promo for it before this, actually. So, some of that's coming, kind of funny to see taking shape where we're actually getting out there and doing these virtual events, as we look ahead at these bigger live events coming up, right? I saw LGA. I mean, as we were on this call, got new dates. Did you see that, Jimmy? November dates.
I saw something pop up, so I haven't looked at it yet.
November dates for LGA. So, it's going to be a busy end of the year.
It is.
Those are all big shows. Is that the LGA event, the week long? 192, 195?
192, 195, and I've been there for years, and it just keeps growing and growing. To say that they have 500, 600, 700 attendees over 5 full days, pulling from one time, I thought it was 16, 17 states, including regulatory.
Yeah, a lot of people. That one gets traveled well across the industry for sure. Yep. And that's a unique event, Jim, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I have never attended that event. Okay. But by proxy, and I believe you are the one that told me, so that when we say 192, 195, one group comes in and it's kind of split in half, right? How does that work?
Yeah. It's been
so like one group kind of comes in, another group comes in midweek and goes out the rest. Yeah, but if you're a vendor,
you're there the whole time, and you have to reset, because 192 comes in Monday, they leave Wednesday morning.
So bring them back up.
Wednesday night, afternoon, 195 comes in, they stay till Friday. Yeah. So you gotta like put on your face, because it's showtime again. I mean,
have you ever done New Orleans twice in a week?
I have.
Yeah. So if you're a vendor there, a first-time vendor, bring a backup friend. and ibuprofen in a bowl.
I used to have that at my booth. I used to have Rolaids, ibuprofen, and all that. I don't drink.
That was a swag, yeah.
That was my swag. I give it out, I was helping people.
Yeah, so a lot of events moving to the final quarters. It's
going to be busy.
Really we're really talking about 3 months. September, October, November is going to be bananas.
Yeah, because December is...
Yeah, nobody's going to work after Thanksgiving, right? Nobody works.
Well, it's
kind of publicly works. Right?
Yeah.
We all work. We know.
Bosses
out there, we all work.
It's just, yeah.
What else?
I don't know, brother. What else? I was gonna bring up.
It's funny that I've seen you shuffle different mugs in today. We're recording some different things today. So, we don't want everybody to just think we wear the same clothes in every episode. So when we have these recording days, it's kind of funny behind the scenes, because we'll just be like, okay, new coffee mug. But as we started pulling all this stuff out, look, so I have the original here.
Yep.
It's kind of cool, with a blue hat. This was before the rebrand.
Yep.
Okay. Then we rebranded, so we got the new one with the new logo and stuff. When I say rebranded, our company, Energy Worldnet, rebranded last year in October 1. And so then we got new swag with that rebrand, which, man, killer mug right here. you look at it really close, it's kind of it looks like stars, which is,
yeah, but that thing,
we're
I
the
mean, you
world
could
now.
put a nail in a wall with that thing.
No doubt, man. I think I have.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this guy. Look, it's chunky, like me.
Fluffy.
That guy right there. Then we rebranded the show this year. Right?
Yeah.
So we got that one.
That's
and that one right there, it's got a matte finish. It's a very big mug.
Yep.
And for me personally, just randomly, it fits perfect in my cup holder as a coffee cup, as it is. Like nothing, I don't have to like put a napkin around it or anything crazy. Just it fits wildly enough. And so I love that one. But it's funny to see all the different mugs, even for the life of the show. I've got a few. It's always weird to drink out of the one with your face on it. I try to do that when I'm not around people. Like,
yeah,
someone's over.
Yeah.
You have some family in town, and
the grandbabies are like, "What is that?"
Yeah, they go get coffee in the morning, and they're like, "Is that you?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I was going through a phase."
It's a phase, but I will say this:
podcasting phase.
James, I think we should put out the invitation that if anybody, I'm not saying shamelessly I would want a mug, but if we were to get a mug from anybody, I would proudly hold it on the show.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We're not looking for money here, anyone really. But if you do have a mug and you want us to drink up out of it, send it to us. Send us a note. One line about who y'all are. Don't give me your elevator. Make it better. And we'll drink out of it. And then, at our office, we always put those kind of mugs in the community, that's kind of the cool part is drinking out of like, oh man, who's Cardinal Construction or what? It's kind of like you ever been to one of those old cafes where you go there in the morning and eat breakfast and it's just random coffee mugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Downhole service or, R&L fishing rental, and you're like, man, I like this.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. So if you got mugs, we're not don't bury us in mugs. Just reach out to us and we'll tell you where to send them.
Have some fun with them, right?
Yeah, it'd be cool. We want to, again, our goal is connect people. And that's another way. We don't want your money. Give it to charity of your choice. Just send us a mug each. We'll drink out of it at a show.
And I would say too that if that person, that entity has something they want to share or whatever, that can also open up the dialogue for us have them as a guest on the show.
No doubt, which brings up a great point, Jim, which is, we realize, and this being a new adaptation, I found another one. Of what the show, could look like in the future. We're behind the scenes, we're trying to put this thing on rails a little bit because the thing we don't know is what it's going to look like when Jim's in, like we said, in Alberta or Calgary, and I'm in Florida. How are we going to put on a show that makes sense and bring value, steal the way and pull off our jobs at the same time, right? And so part of that is that we've moved to more of a scheduled recording weeks to try to just help our scheduling overall. And we know as we start traveling, it's going to be hard to gain those little chunks back. And so really we're trying to build a cushion. But the good part of that is we're saying, hey, if you know someone, if you are someone, or you have a new product that's going to launch, or you have a great story you want to bring about the industry, you have a new podcast, whatever. I mean, we're here to be your conduit to the world. And it may seem like the smallest thing to you. Man, we're having some of the coolest conversations about shows. Jimmy, you saw it this morning. We were on an email chain this morning about bringing the topic of human trafficking on the show, because our industry, you know, we don't think about how much access our industry as an energy industry has that a lot of people don't. And so if there are signs and things that we can teach people and train people on, they may catch these, and they have. That's the cool part. And so that's pretty amazing to think about our show a year ago and the goofy things we started off doing, and then bringing topics with that much weight and levity to them.
Yeah.
This industry is amazing.
And the feedback where people are saying, bring us more. We want to see more. We want to, you know, this half hour that I get to spend every week with us, you know, people are telling me that. Yeah. They're like, great. You know
what I've found myself personally enjoying the most here lately, because I'll be honest, at the beginning, I didn't watch it back because I lived it, right? Like there wasn't a reason for me to. I was there. But then Chad from Upsco mentioned something when we were in the big, Kuvo from Upsco, we were on a mashup with them, and he said, somebody said, you know, people, I think it was Joe maybe said, people come up to me all the time and say, oh man, remember when you said that thing about blah, blah, blah? And Chad was like, yeah, I black out.
Yeah.
And I thought, holy cow, I kind of black out. And when I thought back, I couldn't think of these episodes. So I started rewatching them. And I'll tell you what I've enjoyed the most. And so I started to lean in a little bit more on it, is the origin stories. Like we've been blessed with some amazing guests. Like the other day I was talking to somebody, and we were doing a course or looking at a course, right? And there were markers on there, right? Right. I mean, and they were rhino markers. I mean, you just know what else could they mean? And I was like, hey, we had the founder, like he told the story on our show, and they were like, what do you mean? And I go, those markers right there. And I had that. Yeah. And so hearing those, like, how did you get there? Like what was it like at the beginning part? Like straight out of Scott's mouth, right?
And he's flowing with that passion where he just is like,
he's just telling a story like we tell a story about our company or about our experiences in the industry. But for something, it's like hearing Steve Jobs talk about, you know, his ambitions and Apple and what he wanted it to become and how they got there in the garage stories. Like, and we're listening to someone who was that person for this industry in that segment go through that same onboarding, and it's fascinating to me to hear that. Yeah. Because that's access you don't normally get to people, right? It's like behind the Actors Guild when you get to ask them those things, right? It's really, really cool. So I've enjoyed that personally here lately. So if you are someone who wants to be on, you have a story to tell, you've got a great organization, a great product, any of those things, you have a great message or know someone that does,
hit us up.
Do it. Yeah. Man, we're always pining to get some more episodes in the can, as Jim says. You know, back when it was reel to reel. But we are. So yeah, if you have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. James, I got to tell you, when we talk to guests before they come on, just to kind of come full circle, we always tell them, they're like, what's it like being on the show? We're like, don't even think about us being on a show or recording anything. Just pretend it's the three of us at an industry conference, catching up, having a discussion. Yeah. And it really puts it down. And I think that's the feedback, you know, that I get. I'm sure you get the same thing too from audience members. They're like, just like the conversation that you have. Even if I don't watch it, I might have it on in the background. I might be working on some Excel spreadsheets, might be working on this or whatever. And it's just kind of interesting. It's almost like being at a trade show and hearing a really cool discussion going on over there.
Just kind of sneaking in over there, and they let you listen, and then you're like, what are you guys talking about? Yeah. I mean, that's really what we were trying to recreate. And that's how Jim's right, that's how we onboard people. It's part of our, you know, pretty much our dialogue at the beginning is don't sweat it. You know, it's you'll be surprised how easy it really is.
It really is.
So it's been that part's been a blast.
Yep. James, as I wrap up today, I have one final question for.
Yes.
No.
We got to get new questions for this year.
Yeah, we got.
We're kicking that around, and then our counterparts. If you watch the Chai episode with Ashley and Amy, they gave us some great ideas and
maybe
for some games. And I think the games, our industry is sometimes we're just so, black and white, and we walk a pretty straight line. We have to, when we're out there doing those important things, and we have to be safe, right? So sometimes our mind stays in that black and white mode, and cutting up and doing some of those games. I think it'd be fun to have heard Brian Dresel, as a, back in the days of PHMSA guy, answering some of those word association things, and having that to look back on and laugh at, So we're hoping to bring some variety to that too.
And we're going to do it because, again, as we wrap this up, we want to thank all of our audience. It's because
Jim,
of the audience.
Jim, before you do that, I'm going to make one more point.
Please.
And this personifies, so anybody maybe think we just get on here and, fluff some stuff and make some stuff up. I'm going to go back to 7 habits. And the first 7 habits we ever did was sharpen the saw.
Right.
And we did that episode, and we didn't know if we were going to do 7 habits. We just said, man, it's a great message. We should bring it to people. Yeah. And then that crafted what then turned into us doing every habit, right? And we're one away. But today is the funny story about today is that today was a capstone in an internal group going through 7 habits that we've been involved in. Jim taught, I taught, several of us taught. And today is Sharpen the Saw Day, right? So we will be meeting with that group. But one thing we do with that group as the capstone is we tell them to set aside the whole morning, 8 to 12. And for the first 2 hours, that's yours. You need to go sharpen the saw, whatever that looks like to you. If that's gardening, driving around, listening to music, shooting your gun, fishing, reading a book, taking a bath, whatever it is, right? Whatever your thing is. And then the next 2 hours, we're going to come back. We're going to ask 2 questions. First one is, what did you choose and why, right? 2-parter. And then the second is, what your biggest takeaway was as a whole through the all the habits. So Jim and I picked to do this today.
To sharpen the
funny enough, to sharpen our saw.
And we agreed. It's like, yes.
Because Jim and I have been running 150 miles an hour in 2 different directions here lately. And so getting back together and being able to spend time together ourselves, sometimes people say this is, we do this and it's great. It feels like home and like we're at a conference. Again, this is at the root of all this is me and Jimmy needing that same thing. So being able to hook back up today is sharpening the saw for us.
It is.
I thought that personified, we weren't BSing back in the day when we were talking about sharpening the saw and how it looks different at different times to different people. Yeah. And today, this is what it looked like for us.
And we were so dang excited this morning too when we were like, this is a great idea.
Yeah, let's just freestyle it. Let's go. Yeah. So this one was one from the heart for sure. So anyway, we hope to get in a good pattern with these and do a little bit more, bringing the industry back to everybody.
I think we're onto something. I think it's important. We should definitely start bringing a lot more industry tidbits back.
I love everybody's feedback on it.
Every 5-6 weeks, and just let people know what's going on. Yeah. James, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you, my friend. Spending the time with you this morning, as always. You give so much, and I want to say thanks. So, brother, we feed off each other, and it's great. To our audience, thank you for tuning in. We hope you gathered something from this. Take one thing that you learned today, pass it forward, make somebody else's day much better too. So you have that ability. Please hit the like button. Please follow us. Please do all those things that you're supposed to do with podcasts and social media. I don't know what they are.
Tell a friend. Tell one person.
There you go. Tell a friend and have them join in and check out one of our episodes. Until next week on Coffee with Jim and James, it's our pleasure to say thank you for joining us. And as I always say, every week, stay safe, and we will see you next week on Coffee, Jim and James. Take care, everybody. Have a great
Bye, everyone.